Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
Selecting an insurance provider for your business is a big decision.
With over 26 years of experience, our offer team is your solution for quality and proven coverage.
The customer service you remember from years ago is what we pride our team on.
We know how important your company is to the community.
From small businesses to large businesses, Alford & Associates can manage your insurance. It's our job.
Alford & Associates, benefiting your employees and protecting your business.
All right, of course, we're here at Copeland's, and Congressman Clay Higgins is back in town. Congressman, I caught up with you last time. You were just getting rolling, although you had a good track record behind you. You were sort of getting used to the people of Houma and the surrounding area.
Yes, sir.
You've had a chance now to move around pretty well. How's it been? How's the new marriage with the area?
I'm very happy with the spirit and the attitude of the people from the Houma area, and Terrebonne and Lafourche have delivered some excellent commentary, shall we say, that I've listened very carefully to, and I find that the people that I'm meeting with and talking to and listening to mostly, it's appropriate for me to listen right now, and just to hear the opinions and the concerns of the issues that the people of Terrebonne and Lafourche, feel it's most important to talk to their congressman about. So in the process of listening, it's interesting that you would ask. I find a high level of awareness here. Like the people of Houma, the people of Terrebonne Parish and Lafourche Parish that I've met with thus far are very well informed. And they're on top of their game as far as the issues, the concerns that the communities face. I've been impressed with the knowledge that they have shared, and I've been listening very carefully. So
they're engaged.
So far, the marriage is good.
Yeah, they're engaged in that. But let me ask you, it used to be around here, Congressman, that people wanted to know about issues in Houma, in Thibodaux, down the bayous, and they were very focused. Cause the federal system wasn't perfect, but it wasn't the way it is now. Now, I think most people are turning to, oh my God, look what's happening on a national level, and they don't just vote for someone based on what they could do for the area. They want to know what you're going to do to clear up, I guess, Washington.
Yeah, you hit it. It's been an excellent mixture of local and state issues combined with the real national concern. Like the folks here, as Americans across the country, very concerned about debt, about the direction that Washington seems to be headed in, regarding the way we're spending money that we don't have, money that we're sending overseas to participate in wars that perhaps we shouldn't be involved in. What's going on at the border, 12 million illegals crossing. They're concerned about the future of the country, not so much for themselves. And then, right now, this year, this week, they're concerned about what kind of country we're going to leave for our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. And I concur with most of the concerns that have been voiced. And I'm one of those guys in D.C. that's fighting against the establishment machine that has brought our nation to this point, where we have $36 trillion in debt, and we have allowed 12 million illegals to cross our southern border in the last 3.5 years. And we have inflation that's that's unmanageable for regular American families. It's very difficult to buy groceries and purchase fuel for our cars and pay our mortgage or our rent. So it's legitimate concerns I'm hearing from the people of Terrebonne and Lafourche they're shared with Americans across the country. So it's appropriate that they're bringing it to my attention, and I'm very much involved in those battles in D.C.
You're going to take live questions from the audience. Now, most elected officials sort of steer away from that, not you. You want them to ask you questions. Like you said, people around here get engaged. They get passionate. Passionate would be a good word too. And what do you want them to ask you? What do you want to talk the most about tonight? Because I know you have some things on your agenda. What's the most important talking points you want to get across?
That's an intelligent question, but here's the bottom line, my brother. We're at a point in our country where we're either going to save it or lose it. And every one of the concerns that my constituents bring to my attention and sometimes, our elders, man, very concerned for the first time in their life that they're truly worried about the future of our country. And virtually every concern that rises to the top of an individual American's list is related to the failure of government to operate within its means and within the constitutional parameters that have been long established for our country, and to be guided by the core principles that made our country great to begin with. So this election cycle seems to me, and to many Americans, is crucial, not so much in that, what party has majority, but what direction shall we turn in our country? Do we have the courage to take corrective course and to begin to restore sanity to the federal government regarding spending, regarding law enforcement, regarding support of American businesses and American families, American industry, support for the American energy industry, securing the American sovereignty at our southern border, standing for policies that put America first when it comes to our interactions with other nations and our involvement in conflicts across the world. Like, what is in the best interest of America? That's basically at the root of every question I'll field tonight.
Every conversation I've been in lately with people who are asking intelligent questions about our nation, I hear, and I'm paraphrasing, but it's mostly this: we've lost our country. I'm scared to death about the future. Where will my kids grow up? What would it look like? So many people are coming across the border. We've got terrorists crossing the border. How do we get it back? How do we get it back?
We get it back legally and peacefully within the parameters of the Constitution. That's number one. We have to take a deep breath and recognize that solid, conservative, constitutionalist Americans are not willing to violate the Constitution in order to correct violations of the Constitution. So we have to courageously enter that battle, knowing that the rules have been established by our own history. And America's got a deep bench. So this is where faith comes in. I believe we're an anointed nation, and I have faith that Americans will muster the courage to participate, to show up, vote, and to insist that our nation restore the conservative principles that gave birth to this beautiful country to begin with. And I feel ultimately that fixing things, as you asked, like how do we fix it, it begins with with confidence that we can fix it. And that means conservative solutions. Less government, lower taxes, less regulation, stronger enforcement of our own already existent laws, including our border laws and our immigration laws, less involvement in foreign wars where it's not absolutely necessary to stand with our allies. Like, for instance, I support standing with Israel, who came under terrorist attack on October 7th. They have the right to stand up and restore law and order in their country, and to secure the Gaza Strip, wherein the terrorists have created quite a strong nest in there. They have the right to go in and do that, and we should stand with Israel and help them with that. But I voted no against further funding for Ukraine again and again and again. Like, the Ukrainian conflict is far more complicated than our alliance with Israel, and it's just not something that America should be investing treasure in.
Yeah, you said we're the anointed one, but Israel is also the anointed one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, sir. I concur. So for biblical reasons, I stand with Israel, and they are literally the only democracy in the Middle East, and they provide invaluable intelligence for us and technologies for us. There's some stuff I can't even discuss, but trust me, they're not asking. They're not here asking for a handout. Israel is our partner, and I stand with them.
But obviously, if there was a way to bring Palestinians, Israelites together, and everybody to live in a peaceful way, it would be the best solution. But it seems to be a tough thing to get repeatedly for administrations. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, Hamas is that you can't do business with those people. They're beyond like normal terrorists, man. Those guys are animals. What they did on October the 7th and since then, that was behaviors that humanity has not seen in modern history. You didn't see, you didn't have, Stalin didn't do that stuff. Lenin didn't do that stuff. Mao didn't behave like that. Castro didn't do that. Pol Pot didn't do that. The Nazis didn't do that. They participated and led behaviors that was just horrific and abhorrent to learn of and to witness the evidence of. It's unbelievable that human beings could have done the things that they did. So Israel is responding with strength, and they should respond with strength, and I support them. But shifting to American policy and what we can do to save our country, like our border, I'm telling you, in 2 weeks, with a guy like me and Trump in charge, the border's secure. The cartels would have to change their business model. They're not going to cross into our country the way they're doing under the Biden administration. The Trump policies were working very, very well. It's going to take some aggressive and courageous action to re-secure our borders so that we can effectively reestablish Trump policies that were working quite well in 2019 and 2020. But we're prepared to do that, and we can fix this thing quickly if we have the right people in charge.
Let me get local, on a local level. The number one concern right now in Terrebonne Parish, you would think would be the national economy. You would think it would be a lot of different things. The number one thing that I get told all the time, insurance. And if personally, I know, because we went through Ida, the rates that we are being charged for insurance are unaffordable, but some people who have mortgages have no choice. So a lot of people are exiting Terrebonne Parish. A lot of them are going to Lafourche. But how do we stop the bleeding? And what can you do, or what hope can you give people that, hey, we're going to get insurance under control?
So I have a bill I'll send to you for you to review. This will be our third Congress pushing this legislation. It was born of us studying what happened after Hurricanes Laura and Delta in Cameron and Calhoun, in the western portions of my district. My own family, like Beck and I, my wife and I, we've had 4 insurance companies cancel us. We've never filed a claim. Never even filed a claim. We've had 4 home insurance companies try to walk away from us, 2 of them successfully. Our rates have gone up and up and up. They've almost quadrupled in 5 years. So beyond just having hundreds of conversations like this with constituents and studying this thing very carefully, it's happening to my own family, and I understand. The way to correct the insurance issue is by correcting the insurance market. So I'm a free market guy. I'm not a government solution guy. Hey, I believe in the smaller government, more efficient government, less intrusive government, lower taxation, less regulatory impact. The federal government is far too involved in our lives, and we're certainly overtaxed and overregulated, in my opinion.
You sound like Donald Trump.
So the answer, well, I'm gonna say I sounded like me before he sounded like me, but I'm gonna go and give that respect to my president, because I love my president. So we believe we hit on a solution. We spoke with experts from the insurance industry and the realty industry, realtors from across the country, and attorneys and accountants on how we could use the federal tax code to encourage insurance providers, property insurance providers, to seek doing business in regions of the country where natural disasters are bound to happen. Because it's not just Louisiana, Texas, Florida, the East Coast, wildfires in the West. So there's some regions of our country, large regions, that are regularly impacted by natural disasters. And we have written legislation that makes it very attractive for an insurance provider to go into those regions and do business before a natural disaster, and then stay after a natural disaster and sell more policies. We'll give them 5 years of tax protection. So this legislation is gaining steam and is getting some broader support from both sides of the aisle. And we hope to be able to pass it in the 119th Congress. If we get that done, it's a game changer, not just for Louisiana, but for other, natural disaster impacted regions of the country like Texas, Florida, the East Coast, West Coast.
There's still a lot of insurance companies that are right here, but the carriers will tell you they don't guarantee the claim. So I think to myself, well, what good is a policy if they're not going to guarantee you that if there's a disaster, that they'll be around to cover it?
That's right.
I'm going like, it's really not a policy.
So what you and I want, is we want to be able to call our insurance agent and say, hey, let's look at new policies. I'm coming up for renewal for my business property and my home. I want to look at what my options are. We want our agent to be able to say, yes, sir. And she calls us back the next day or the following day and says, okay, I've got 8 proposals for you from 8 different companies or 9 different companies. This is what we want. This is a competitive market. So the question is, how do we create an attractive business environment that will draw in insurance providers to where we have that kind of a selection? Because when you have competition, you have competitive pricing and you have better product. The next guy wants to provide a better policy at a lower price so that he can get your business. So what we think we have hit on with this legislation, and I'm gonna send it to you. I would appreciate your opinion. You're an intelligent gentleman. You know what's going on. I like your opinion of the bill because it is gaining traction, and we think it will fix a lot of problems for the insurance expense and availability. The reason it's so expensive is because it's not available. The reason it's not available is because natural disasters hit and insurance companies flee. So the question became, how can we encourage insurance companies to not just want to stay, but want to expand policies in an impacted area. And we think this is a solution. That's long term, but we believe we can get that bill passed
With that
in the
fixed,
next couple
I
of
think
years.
you put a big Band-Aid, you take the Band-Aid off, you let the wound heal, and I think the place flourishes again. Two other points. We got to talk about oil, got to talk about seafood. A lot of people are still fighting those imported seafood companies, a lot of businesses down here. If you talk to a lot of local shrimpers, they're hurting because they're constantly fighting the imports. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we should tariff the hell out of them. And we should kick them out the country when they violate the slightest law. They have chemicals and biological elements in some of this imported seafood that if Americans found out about it, it'd be horrified. And the only reason we're not getting sick from this imported seafood is because we're cooking it. So, and we're not talking about a little bit of seafood. We're talking about billions of pounds of seafood. So foreign nations are subsidizing, in this case, let's just talk about shrimp. So just India, let's just focus on India. India is subsidizing illegally, contrary to international law and trade agreement, they're subsidizing their shrimp producers, and they're growing, harvesting, processing, packaging, and shipping this shrimp at standards far below American standards.
Farming them in their own waste.
Yes, so man, it's horrible. But what ends up happening is Americans can't tell by the time the product gets to a shelf or to the wholesale distributors that provide like super cheap shrimp to the restaurant industries across the country, etc. So Americans are consuming it, not knowing that shrimp they're eating has been contaminated with chemical and biological waste that they would not consume if they knew it was in there. But we are only inspecting 1/10 of 1% of imported agricultural and seafood product. But that's a problem. However, the real problem is that we're not kicking those countries out when we do inspect them and find that it has chemical and biological elements that are against the law. We're not penalizing them hard when we find that they're violating label laws and origin laws. Some of these companies are skirting around our laws by going through like second and third ports of entry, and they're relabeling product. So it's a shell game that America can shut down, I'm telling you quickly, if we embraced heavy penalties. I support those penalties and those tariffs. I know President Trump has supported that kind of international pressure, using the economic power of America to stop illegal and unrighteous practices like dumping illegal billions of pounds of seafood into our country.
Final question. I know the parish president wants to speak with you before you speak, but oil. I heard the president the other day, or former President Trump said, drill, baby, drill.
Yeah.
That's music to this area.
I mean, American energy industry should be dominant worldwide. And we can be. We were there. But by 2020, 2019 and 2020, we were right there, not just on an American energy independence, but American energy dominance. So that is like, my dad used to call energy the ocean that floats all boats. And he said American energy was going to be the driving factor of either a powerful economy or a weak economy, depending upon what policies were embraced regarding the American energy production and distribution. So worldwide distribution of liquefied natural gas, the epicenter for that should be right here in South Louisiana. And the nation benefits from that. If you have ecological concern, you should support the American energy industry, because nobody does it cleaner than we do. And American natural gas is far cleaner than any other nation's natural gas product. American LNG is harvested and piped and processed and liquefied and delivered onto container ships and shipped far safer and cleaner than any other nation handles that business. So American energy industry is the key. It's like the cornerstone of our economic prosperity moving into the next 20, 30, 50 years. Unfortunately, we have a president right now occupying the White House. And I do say occupying because when I refer to the president, I'm telling my conversation with him, I'm talking about Donald Trump. And when I say I'm going to meet with the president, I'm going to Mar-a-Lago, you understand? So unfortunately, we have a chief executive that has taken a position that opposes American energy production and distribution, but we're going to fix that in November.
All right. Congressman, thanks again for all your time. We
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
it.
God bless you. I appreciate you.
Take care.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.